MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us today, we've got Zerlinda from Merwe. She represents TVDM Consultants. They specialize, I think I'm going to use that term, in community service living consulting. So the real question is around reputation and differentiation. So for me, if you think about a client when they arrive with because they have an expectation. They have an expectation that you're going to deliver for them, and they base that expectation on your brand and your reputation. Okay, so that when your adverts are being sent to them, or when they meet with you, basically they're scanning to see does this fit with me, and if it does, then there's an expectation that you're going to deliver, and you're going to deliver at the price and within the period of time. And of course, you're going to give them good advice, and they're going to win whatever dispute or do the right thing into the future. Clients leave, on the other hand, when their expectations are not met, number one. Number two, they don't perceive sufficient value. And that is quite a gray area. What is value, and what might be value to them and might be value to you are two different things. You think, well, I've given them brilliant advice, and they might have, well, you only spent 15 minutes with me, so they don't perceive it as value. It might have been the best advice. Whereas another person might go, just give me the advice and I'm out of here. It's more important that you get to the point, So everyone has got a different perception of value. And the third reason why they would leave is affordability. The thing might drag on and they just can't afford you, and they need to go and pay somebody who doesn't have the fee structure that you have. In the insert, I listened to the words. You said you were going to grow by a few more people, and then it felt like you were going to stop at that point. So to me, what I'm when I'm thinking about what to say to you, the context for me is that I'm trying to understand whether you're a lifestyle or a growth entrepreneur. My interpretation, just based on those few words, are that you're a lifestyle entrepreneur, that you want to grow to a certain point, make good money, but you don't want this to be a 100-man operation. That's what I took from that. So when you go into when you think about a growth business, then you think about breadth. When you think about a lifestyle business, you think around specialization. So it's more around how do you specialize this business, and start to think very cleverly around the specialization, whether it is geographical specialization, whether it's a part of the whole community scheme living. You can see I'm not familiar with that term. I keep looking at it. So whether it's a part of that space, or looking for a particular specialization that when somebody in that specialization says, we've got a problem, there's only one person to speak to. And if you look at, not that I'm in the market for a divorce attorney, but I certainly know within my friends and my community, if there is a divorce, who everyone goes to, because they know this dude always wins. That's the go-to person. Or there's two or three of them. You want to become that person, and the value proposition there is that you do well, you'll pay a bit more, but you are going to always win. So for you, the work is trying to work out what that specialization is, and within that specialization, what is the value proposition within that? What is important to people within that? Whether it's winning, whether it's feeling that they're supported long term, whether it's the fact that they have contact, once a month or once a quarter or once or whatever. You've got to work out what the link the value proposition to the specialization. That's the work that you have to do. So in the beginning, especially as you're building a practice and building a business, it'll feel counterintuitive because you're going to take on everything. And that's fine, because you're bringing in clients. But this is not so much about what you're bringing in, it's what you're communicating outward. And eventually there's a point in the future where you say, I don't do that, rather speak to so-and-so. I specialize here. And when you get into specialization, then pricing doesn't become an issue, because you can move up the value chain around pricing. And now every hour that you spend, you're not making X, you're making X times 1.5 or times 2, because you've specialized, and people know your reputation in that space is you win. You the go-to person. So if I look at reputation and differentiation, your differentiation is your reputation and the fact that you specialize. It's kills both those birds with the same stone, is specialization. Okay. So then it's not about it's what I've written here. I focus on more value in a more niched areas. So it's just more and more value. And as you go down that route, eventually you get to a point where you have reached let's call it the pinnacle of that, the amount of value you can give, and there's no more price that you can go higher, because if you go higher, you're going to lose clients. So you've got to go down that journey till you get to that point. I can't tell you where that is, but you will know where that is. And only at that point will you make a decision where then to branch to the next level of adjacent specialization and start working on the next thing. That strategy of building depth and value, specialization and value, and then only once you've achieved that, let's call it a terminal point there, and then doing it again, will keep your reputation very tight for years and years and years, and keep you differentiated. If you don't hit that pinnacle point, then you will be, and you start spreading quickly, you will start to do that, and then you will lose both value and specialization and differentiation. And that's really what I'm where I think I would like to take you. If I got it wrong around, and just quickly, if I got it wrong that you want to have a growth business with 100 consultants in, okay, just for anyone else listening, then the opposite is true. Then it is about that you can get more clients within the area of community scheme living. You broaden that and go and look for new niches and to grow it more, and then put people in certain areas, and then it's more around brand. Okay, about building the brand, that the brand is about, the people buy the brand and not the specialization. So that's for anyone listening who is not the lifestyle entrepreneur, but for the growth entrepreneur. So Zerlinda, I hope I've given you something to think about.
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I hope I've given you something to think about. And as always, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.